If you want to learn English through stories, you're in the right place. My name is Amanda, and I want to share my journey of learning English with you. Following along will help you better learn English. It wasn't easy, but it was worth every moment. I hope my story inspires you to learn and never give up, no matter how difficult it may seem. Chapter 1: The Beginning. I grew up in a small town in Brazil. It was a beautiful place with friendly people, but not many spoke English. From a young age, I knew that learning English could open many doors for me. I loved watching American movies and listening to English songs, but I couldn't understand much. My dream was to travel the world, and I knew English was the key. When I was 18, I decided to take my first English class. I was excited, but also very nervous. I didn't know what to expect. My teacher, Mrs. Johnson, was very kind and patient. She made learning fun and interesting. We started with the basics: the alphabet, simple words, and common phrases. I practiced every day, repeating words and trying to remember as much as I could. I spent hours at home going over what I had learned in class. I made flashcards and stuck them around my room, quizzing myself every morning and night. Pronunciation was tough, but Mrs. Johnson helped us with phonetic exercises. I practiced in front of a mirror, watching my mouth and tongue, and slowly, I got better. My classmates and I became friends and supported each other. We often met after class to study and practice speaking English. These sessions were full of laughter and made learning enjoyable. Soon, I could understand simple sentences and hold basic conversations. One memorable moment was when I ordered food in English at a local cafe. It was a small victory, but it boosted my confidence. Learning English opened up a new world for me. I explored English websites, read articles, and dreamed of the places I wanted to visit. Looking back, those early days were challenging but rewarding. They laid the foundation for my language skills and set me on the path to achieving my dreams. The journey had just begun, and I was excited to see where it would take me. Chapter 2: Finding my rhythm. After a few months, I started to see some progress. I could understand simple sentences and have basic conversations, but I wanted more. I wanted to speak fluently and understand everything, so I decided to change my routine. I started waking up early every morning to study for an hour before work. I found that studying in the morning helped me concentrate better. I also began to immerse myself in the language. I changed the settings on my phone and computer to English. I watched TV shows and movies with English subtitles. At first it was hard. I had to pause and look up words all the time, but slowly I started to understand more. I joined an English conversation group in my town. We met once a week to practice speaking and listening. I was shy at first, but everyone was very supportive. We talked about different topics, played games, and even had debates. This helped me gain confidence and improve my speaking skills. To enhance my listening skills, I started listening to English podcasts during my commute. It was challenging at first, but I gradually picked up more words and phrases. This daily practice made a big difference. I also found a language exchange partner online. Her name was Sarah, and she wanted to learn Portuguese. We talked on Skype twice a week, helping each other with our respective languages. This not only improved my speaking skills, but also gave me a deeper understanding of cultural differences and similarities. These changes in my routine and the immersive experiences helped me make significant progress in my journey to learn English. Chapter 3: Practice makes perfect. One of the most important things I did was practice speaking. I joined an English conversation group in my town. We met once a week to practice speaking and listening. At first, I was shy and nervous about speaking in front of others. However, the group members were very supportive and encouraging, which made me feel more comfortable. We talked about different topics, played games, and even had debates. This variety of activities helped me gain confidence and improve my speaking skills. The group meetings were a lot of fun. We would start with simple topics like our favorite foods or hobbies, and gradually move on to more complex discussions about current events or cultural differences. Sometimes we would watch a short video clip in English and then discuss it. These conversations challenged me to think in English and express my thoughts clearly. Over time, I became more fluent and less afraid of making mistakes. In addition to the conversation group, I found a language exchange partner online. Her name was Sarah, and she wanted to learn Portuguese. We arranged to talk on Skype twice a week. During our sessions, I would help her with Portuguese, and she would help me with English. This exchange was incredibly beneficial. Speaking with Sarah allowed me to practice my English in a real-life context and receive immediate feedback. We discussed various topics, ranging from our daily routines to our dreams and aspirations. Sarah and I became good friends through our language exchange. We shared stories about our cultures, traditions, and personal experiences. This cultural exchange enriched my understanding of the English language and helped me appreciate the nuances of communication. Our conversations were informal and relaxed, which made learning enjoyable. To make the most of our sessions, I prepared topics and questions in advance. This preparation helped me stay focused and ensured that we always had something interesting to talk about. Sarah did the same, and our discussions were always engaging and informative. We also corrected each other's mistakes and offered constructive feedback, which accelerated our learning process. Practicing with the conversation group and with Sarah significantly improved my speaking skills. I became more fluent and confident in expressing myself in English. These regular practice sessions were crucial in helping me overcome my fear of speaking and making mistakes. I realized that the more I practiced, the better I became. Chapter 4: Using Technology. Technology played a big role in my learning process. I downloaded several language learning apps like Duolingo and Memories. These apps made learning fun and interactive. I could practice vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation anytime, anywhere. The gamified elements of these apps kept me motivated. Each time I completed a lesson or reached a new level, I felt a sense of accomplishment. Duolingo, in particular, was great for building my vocabulary. The app offered short, engaging lessons that fit easily into my daily routine. I enjoyed the variety of exercises, which included translating sentences, matching words with images, and practicing pronunciation. The instant feedback helped me identify and correct my mistakes quickly. Memrise was another valuable tool. It used spaced repetition to help me remember new words and phrases. The app featured videos of native speakers, which helped me improve my listening skills and get used to different accents. I often found myself repeating the phrases out loud, trying to mimic the pronunciation and intonation of the speakers. I also discovered podcasts and YouTube channels dedicated to learning English. One of my favorite channels was Learn English with Lucy. Lucy had great tips and explained everything in a clear and simple way. Her videos covered a wide range of topics, from grammar and vocabulary to pronunciation and cultural insights. I appreciated how she broke down complex concepts into easy-to-understand segments. Listening to podcasts while commuting to work became part of my daily routine. It was a great way to improve my listening skills and learn new expressions. My favorite podcast was The English We Speak by the BBC. Each episode was short and focused on a specific phrase or idiom, explaining its meaning and how to use it in conversation. This not only expanded my vocabulary, but also helped me understand the nuances of everyday English. To make the most of my listening practice, I often listened to the same podcast episode or YouTube video multiple times. The repetition helped reinforce my understanding and allowed me to catch details I might have missed the first time. I also took notes on new words and phrases, which I later reviewed and incorporated into my speaking practice. Technology also enabled me to connect with other English learners and native speakers. I joined online forums and social media groups where people shared resources, asked questions, and offered support. These communities were incredibly helpful. I could ask questions, participate in discussions, and learn from others' experiences. One of the most useful tools I found was an app called Tandem. It connected language learners with native speakers around the world for language exchange. Through Tandem, I had the opportunity to chat with native English speakers via text, audio, and video. These real-time conversations were invaluable for practicing my speaking and listening skills. Overall, technology made learning English more accessible and enjoyable. It provided me with a wealth of resources and opportunities to practice in ways that were convenient and effective. By integrating these tools into my daily routine, I was able to make steady progress and keep my motivation high. Chapter 5: Reading and Writing. To improve my reading and writing skills, I started reading books in English. I chose books that I was interested in and that were at my level. At first, I read children's books and short stories. They were simpler and had illustrations that helped me understand the context. Authors like Dr. Seuss and Roald Dahl became my first companions in this new adventure. These stories were not only entertaining, but also helped me build my vocabulary and understand sentence structures. As I became more confident, I moved on to novels and nonfiction books. One of the first novels I read was Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. It was a touching story, and the language was simple enough for me to understand, but challenging enough to help me learn. I made it a habit to underline new words and look them up later. This practice expanded my vocabulary and improved my comprehension skills. I also subscribed to magazines and online articles about topics that interested me, such as travel, science, and culture. Reading diverse materials helped me get used to different writing styles and tones. It also exposed me to a wide range of vocabulary and expressions. Writing was another challenge. I started keeping a journal in English. Every night I would write about my day, my thoughts, and my feelings. It was hard at first. I struggled to find the right words and often had to use a dictionary. But as time went on, it became easier. Writing in my journal helped me practice grammar, improve my writing fluency, and organize my thoughts in English. To further improve my writing skills, I joined an online writing community. Websites like Wattpad and Lang8 allowed me to share my stories and receive feedback from other users. The community members were supportive and offered constructive criticism. They pointed out my mistakes and suggested ways to improve my writing. This feedback was invaluable in helping me learn and grow as a writer. I also participated in writing challenges and prompts that pushed me to write creatively. These exercises helped me think in English and express myself more naturally. I wrote short stories, essays, and even poems. Each piece I wrote was a step towards becoming more proficient in English. In addition to personal writing, I also practiced writing emails and messages in English. I corresponded with friends and language exchange partners, which helped me practice formal and informal writing styles. Writing emails was particularly useful for learning how to structure my thoughts clearly and concisely. Reading and writing in English became an integral part of my daily routine. These practices not only improved my language skills, but also boosted my confidence. I realized that the more I read and wrote, the more comfortable I became with the language. It was a gradual process, but with persistence and dedication, I made significant progress. Overall, reading and writing were crucial components of my English learning journey. They complemented my speaking and listening practice and provided a well-rounded approach to mastering the language. Through books, journals, and online communities, I was able to immerse myself in English and develop a deeper understanding and appreciation for the language. Chapter 6: Overcoming Challenges. There were times when I felt frustrated and wanted to give up. Learning a new language is not easy, and it takes time and effort. There were moments when the words just wouldn't stick in my memory, or when I couldn't understand what someone was saying, no matter how hard I tried. But I reminded myself of my goals and kept pushing forward. I celebrated my small victories, like understanding a whole conversation or finishing a book in English. These little achievements kept me motivated and reminded me of how far I had come. One of the biggest challenges I faced was pronunciation. English has many sounds that are different from Portuguese. For example, the th sound in words like think and that was particularly difficult for me. I found myself struggling to produce these sounds correctly, and it often led to misunderstandings. To improve, I practiced by listening to native speakers and repeating what they said. I watched videos on YouTube where people explained how to position my tongue and mouth to produce the sounds correctly. This was incredibly helpful. I also recorded myself speaking and listened to it to see where I needed to improve. At first, it was uncomfortable to hear my own voice and notice all the mistakes. But over time, this exercise became a valuable tool. I could hear the progress I was making and identify specific areas that needed more work. Slowly, my pronunciation got better. Another challenge was the sheer volume of vocabulary to learn. English has many words, and sometimes it felt overwhelming to remember them all. I used flashcards and spaced repetition techniques to help retain new vocabulary. I also tried to use new words in sentences and conversations as soon as I learned them. This practice helped reinforce the words in my memory and made them more familiar. Grammar was another hurdle. English grammar rules can be quite different from those in Portuguese. I often found myself confused by things like verb tenses, prepositions, and articles. To tackle this, I spent extra time studying grammar books and doing exercises. I also asked for help from my teachers and language exchange partners whenever I encountered something I didn't understand. Despite these challenges, I found ways to keep myself motivated. I set small, achievable goals, such as learning 10 new words a week or finishing a chapter of a book. I also rewarded myself for reaching these goals, which made the process more enjoyable. Another motivation booster was keeping a progress journal where I documented my improvements and milestones. Reading through it on tough days reminded me of my progress and gave me the strength to keep going. There were also times when I felt lonely in my learning journey. Not many people around me were learning English, and sometimes I felt isolated. To combat this, I joined online communities and forums where I could connect with other English learners. These communities provided support, encouragement, and a sense of belonging. Sharing experiences with others who were going through the same challenges made a big difference. One of the most helpful strategies I adopted was maintaining a positive mindset. I learned to view mistakes as opportunities to learn rather than failures. This shift in perspective helped me stay resilient and persistent. I also practiced self-compassion, reminding myself that learning a language is a complex process and that it's okay to make mistakes. Looking back, overcoming these challenges was an integral part of my learning journey. Each obstacle taught me something valuable and made me a more determined and resourceful learner. The difficulties I faced ultimately made my successes even more rewarding. Learning English was not just about acquiring a new language. It was also about building perseverance, patience, and a positive attitude. Chapter 7. Experiencing English in Real Life. After 2 years of hard work, I felt ready to test my skills in a real-life situation. I decided to travel to the United States for a month. It was an exciting but nerve-wracking decision. I had never been away from home for so long, and I was about to immerse myself in an environment where I would have to rely entirely on my English skills. I arranged to stay with a host family in a small town in California. They were a warm and welcoming couple named John and Mary. From the moment I arrived, they made me feel at home. At first, I was nervous and worried about making mistakes when speaking English. However, John and Mary were very kind and patient with me. They encouraged me to speak as much as possible and reassured me that it was okay to make mistakes. The first few days were challenging. I struggled to keep up with the fast pace of conversation and often found myself searching for the right words. But with each passing day, I grew more comfortable. Living with a host family provided me with countless opportunities to practice English in a natural setting. We would have long conversations over dinner about various topics, from American culture to their travel experiences. During my stay, I explored different cities. I visited San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego. Each city had its own unique charm and attractions. In San Francisco, I marveled at the Golden Gate Bridge and took a cable car ride through the hilly streets. Los Angeles dazzled me with its vibrant entertainment scene, and I even had the chance to visit the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In San Diego, I enjoyed the beautiful beaches and the famous San Diego Zoo. Traveling around these cities gave me plenty of opportunities to practice my English. I interacted with locals, asked for directions, and ordered food at restaurants. Trying new foods was an adventure in itself. I had my first taste of American classics like hamburgers, hot dogs, and apple pie. I also discovered regional specialties like clam chowder in San Francisco and fish tacos in San Diego. Making new friends was another highlight of my trip. I met people from different backgrounds and cultures, which enriched my experience even further. I made friends with some of John and Mary's neighbors, who invited me to a barbecue. It was a typical American gathering, and I enjoyed the friendly atmosphere and delicious food. We played games, chatted about our lives, and shared lots of laughter. These interactions helped me practice conversational English in a relaxed and enjoyable setting. One of the most memorable experiences was attending a baseball game. John and Mary were big fans of the sport and took me to see a game at a local stadium. The atmosphere was electric, with cheering fans and the smell of popcorn and hot dogs in the air. John patiently explained the rules of the game to me, and by the end of the night, I was cheering along with the crowd. I also visited museums, parks, and historical sites. Each place I visited taught me something new about American history and culture. I was particularly fascinated by the Museum of Natural History in Los Angeles, where I spent hours exploring the exhibits. These visits not only enhanced my knowledge but also provided more opportunities to practice reading and listening in English. Throughout the trip, I kept a travel journal in English. I wrote about my daily adventures, the people I met, and my thoughts and feelings. This practice helped me reflect on my experiences and further improved my writing skills. By the end of the month, my English had improved significantly. I felt more confident in my ability to communicate and understand others. The trip had given me a practical, real-life application of everything I had learned over the past 2 years. It was incredibly rewarding to see my hard work paying off. Experiencing English in real life was a turning point in my language learning journey. It reinforced the importance of immersion and real-world practice. The trip not only boosted my language skills but also broadened my horizons and deepened my appreciation for different cultures. It was an amazing experience that I will cherish forever. Returning home, I felt a renewed sense of motivation and confidence. I continued to practice and improve my English, knowing that I was now capable of using it in real-world situations. This experience taught me that with dedication and perseverance, it is possible to achieve your goals and make your dreams a reality. Chapter 8. Continuing to learn. Even after reaching a high level of English, I continued to learn and improve. I realized that mastering a language is an ongoing process, and there is always room for growth. To further refine my skills, I enrolled in advanced courses. These courses focused on perfecting grammar, expanding vocabulary, and understanding more complex language structures. I particularly enjoyed the advanced grammar classes, where I learned the intricacies of English that I had not encountered before. In addition to taking courses, I started teaching English to beginners. This was a transformative experience for me. Teaching helped me reinforce my knowledge and gave me a new perspective on the learning process. Explaining concepts to others required me to understand them deeply, and this deepened my own comprehension. I also found it rewarding to see my students progress and achieve their own language goals. Teaching was not just about imparting knowledge. It was also about inspiring and motivating my students. I shared my own journey with them, including the challenges I faced and how I overcame them. This helped them realize that learning a language is a gradual process that requires persistence and patience. I used a variety of teaching methods, including interactive activities, games, and real-life conversations, to make learning fun and engaging for my students. I also continued to consume English content to maintain and improve my language skills. Reading books in English became a regular part of my routine. I joined book clubs, where we discussed various novels and nonfiction books. These discussions were stimulating and provided me with different viewpoints and insights. They also helped me practice critical thinking and articulate my thoughts clearly in English. Movies and podcasts remained a staple in my language learning diet. I watched films from different genres and periods, which exposed me to diverse accents and colloquial expressions. Podcasts, especially those focused on language learning and cultural topics, enriched my vocabulary and listening skills. One of my favorite podcasts was Stuff You Should Know, which covered a wide range of interesting subjects and helped me learn new terminology in a fun and engaging way. To stay motivated, I joined discussion groups and online forums where people shared their experiences and tips for learning English. These communities provided a sense of belonging and support. We exchanged recommendations for books, movies, and courses, and we encouraged each other to keep learning. Participating in these groups also helped me stay updated on the latest language learning resources and trends. I also sought out opportunities to use English in practical contexts. I attended seminars, workshops, and conferences conducted in English. These events not only enhanced my professional skills, but also provided opportunities to network and engage in meaningful conversations. Traveling to English-speaking countries whenever possible also allowed me to immerse myself in the language and culture, reinforcing what I had learned. Learning a language is indeed a lifelong journey. There is always something new to learn, whether it's a new word, an idiom, or a cultural nuance. This mindset kept me curious and eager to explore more. I embraced every opportunity to learn, knowing that each step, no matter how small, brought me closer to mastering the language. In conclusion, my journey of learning English has been one of continuous growth and discovery. From the early days of struggling with basic phrases to teaching others and engaging in advanced discussions, every stage has been rewarding. I have learned that persistence, practice, and a passion for learning are key to mastering a language. And while I have come a long way, I know that the journey is far from over. There will always be new challenges to face and new heights to reach, and I look forward to continuing this exciting adventure. Extra tips and methods. 1. Set goals. Setting clear and achievable goals is essential. Whether it's learning a certain number of new words each week or being able to hold a conversation for 5 minutes, having goals keeps you focused and motivated. 2. Consistency is key. Make English a part of your daily routine. Even if it's just 15 minutes a day, consistent practice is more effective than cramming. 3. Use flashcards. Flashcards are a great way to memorize vocabulary. Apps like Anki allow you to create digital flashcards and review them regularly. 4. Engage with native speakers. If possible, interact with native speakers. This can be through language exchange programs, travel, or online platforms. Real-life practice is invaluable. 5. Watch and listen. Engage with English media that interests you. Whether it's TV shows, movies, music, or podcasts, consuming content in English helps improve your listening skills and exposes you to natural language use. 6. Stay positive. Learning a language can be challenging, but a positive mindset helps. Celebrate your progress no matter how small, and don't be too hard on yourself when you make mistakes. Amanda's routine. To give you a better idea of how I managed my time, here is a typical day in my life when I was actively learning English. 6 a.m. Wake up and study vocabulary for 30 minutes. 6:30 a.m. Listen to an English podcast while getting ready for work. 7:30 a.m. Commute to work while practicing speaking using language apps. 8 a.m. 5 p.m. Work, using any spare moments to review vocabulary or read short articles. 5:30 p.m. Attend an English conversation group or online language exchange session. 7 p.m. Dinner while watching an English TV show or movie with subtitles. 8:30 p.m. Write in my English journal about my day. 9 p.m. Read a book in English before going to bed. Final thoughts. My journey of learning English taught me that perseverance and dedication are crucial. There were times when I doubted myself, especially when progress seemed slow or when I faced difficult challenges. However, the support from my teachers, friends, and language partners kept me going. They believed in me even when I struggled to believe in myself. Their encouragement and patience were invaluable, and they reminded me that every effort, no matter how small, was a step forward. Remember, every small step brings you closer to your goal. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about consistent practice and incremental improvements. There were days when I felt like I wasn't making any progress, but looking back, I can see how far I've come. It's important to celebrate these small victories, whether it's understanding a new word, completing a chapter in a book, or having a conversation without hesitation. These moments are proof that your hard work is paying off. Learning English has changed my life in many ways. It has opened up new opportunities that I never imagined possible. I have been able to travel to different countries, experience new cultures, and make friends from all over the world. Speaking English has allowed me to connect with people on a deeper level and understand their perspectives. It has also enhanced my professional opportunities, giving me access to a global job market and enabling me to work in diverse environments. My advice to anyone learning English is to stay motivated, practice every day, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are a natural part of the learning process. Each mistake is an opportunity to learn and improve. Embrace them, learn from them, and keep moving forward. It's also important to find ways to make learning enjoyable. Incorporate your interests and hobbies into your practice. Whether it's reading a book, watching a movie, or listening to music in English, make it fun and engaging. Celebrate your progress and enjoy the journey. Learning a language is not just about reaching a destination. It's about the experiences and growth you gain along the way. Be patient with yourself and appreciate the effort you're putting in. Every day is an opportunity to learn something new and get closer to your goal. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my story. I hope it has inspired you and given you some useful insights into the language learning process. Remember, with perseverance and dedication, you can achieve your goals. Good luck on your own language learning journey. Keep learning, keep practicing, and soon you'll see the results of your hard work.